Hi, welcome back to another guitar tutorial. Today we're going to have a look at a diagonal minor pentatonic / blues scale pattern that is really going to expand your knowledge of the fretboard, get you breaking out of any boxes that you feel that you might be stuck in with your lead playing, and generally get you using a bit more of the neck. So it takes from a few different positions of the minor pentatonic scale and packages it up into a nice, easy to memorize and easy to visualize diagonal pattern. So this is really just going to be an overview of the scale, and I won't be showing you any specific licks in this one, but let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see some specific licks for this scale in future lessons, and I'll be happy to do that. So we're going to be looking at the scale pattern itself as well as the blues scale variation, and I'll give you some tips on how you can effectively practice the scale, as well as a few ideas that you might be able to apply into your own playing as well. So if you feel that you get something from the lesson, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel for more guitar videos. And without further ado, let's get cracking with today's lesson. Okay, so we're going to start by having a look at the scale itself. Basically, this is a 3-octave scale in the key of E minor. So we're going to have the notes E, G, A, B, and D, and they're going to repeat 3 times, giving us 3 full octaves. So we're starting on the open E string, then the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th fret on the E string, then 5 and 7 on the A string, 5, 7, and 9 on the D string, 7 and 9 on the G, 8, 10, and 12 on the B string, and then 10 and 12 on the high E. And all together we get this. And then if we want to make it into a blues scale, we basically just add 1 note into each octave of the scale, and that note is B flat, which is here at the 6th fret of the E string, the 8th fret of the D string, and then the 11th fret of the B string, and that will give us this. So to memorise the scale really effectively and as quickly as we possibly can, we're going to break it down into 3 1-octave sections. So 3 smaller little scales, almost thinking of them as mini scales in themselves. And for this, we really need to know where all the E notes are, because they're going to denote the start and finish of each octave. So the first one is the open E string, but then we get the 7th fret of the A string, the 9th fret of the G, and the 12th fret of the high E string. And they're going to be our starting and finishing points for each section. So first section will be open E to the 7th fret of the A string, then the 7th fret of the A string to the 9th of the G, and the 9th of the G to the 12th of the high E string. And if you sort of focus on those in smaller sections, when you feel confident with each one, you can put that all together and you'll get the final 3-octave scale. So when you're practicing it, start nice and slowly. Make sure you're getting it really accurately first before you build any speed in. Again, you don't want to be making mistakes and tripping up over yourself, so really get it under your fingers, get the muscle memory working, and then you can build the speed as you go. Keep it nice and even as well as you're practicing through it. Also use alternate picking, so you're trying to alternate between down and up strokes as you go up through the scale. And again, really focus on those note names, so try to make a mental note of the notes as you play through it. You could even say them out loud as you actually play through the scale. That's going to really help you later on when it comes to targeting specific notes, and also kind of knowing where the home notes of the scale are, where the resolution of the scale is. So yeah, definitely recommend that you have a go at that. So when we come to use the scale for improvising and soloing and the fun bit, we basically want to think of it again in those three sections. Any phrase that we can play in any of those sections can more or less be moved into any of the others, because obviously the notes are being repeated. So for example here, if I start on the 10th fret of the B string, slide up to the 12th, play the D note, something like that, and then slide back down from the B to the A, pull off to the G, and then land on the E note, something like that. We could do exactly the same thing if we move down to the middle octave, starting on the A note again. We could even do that on the lower octave as well, starting on the A here at the 5th fret. So it's really easy to move phrases around between each octave, which gives you a lot of versatility and again a lot of fretboard coverage. So we can do similar things with like the blues scale notes, so we can do a hammer on pull off here at the 10th and 11th fret of the B string down to the 8th fret, and then maybe landing on the 9th fret E. And we can do exactly the same thing starting from the B note, the 7th fret of the D string, and again. So there'll be certain things that work better in the higher register than in the lower register, and vice versa, but really you just have to experiment and see what works, see what sounds good. One other thing just to mention about this section of the scale, from the 9th fret of the G to the 8th fret of the B, it's the only place in the whole scale pattern where we kind of have a 1 fret movement across the strings. Everywhere else it's a 2 fret movement, so usually you're playing it with your 1st and your 3rd finger. But here we go from the 9th to the 8th fret. So what I'd recommend that you do in this little section is think of this sort of like a small triangle. And that can be really great for lots of blues and rock style licks. By using that little triangle, everything kind of falls under your fingers really nicely and saves you getting tangled up in there as well. So sliding is a great technique we can use with this scale. Because we have 3 strings that have 3 notes on them, sliding between them is a really nice way of making it really fluid sounding. Also your hammer-ons and pull-offs will all work great as well. So again, you know, thinking of those in each section and really thinking about where the E note is can really help you navigate this scale really effectively. And so that's about it. Hopefully that is enough to get you off and running. One other thing quickly just to mention would be the transition point between the diagonal scale that we've just been looking at into position 1 of the minor pentatonic box, which would be here at the 12th fret. Is this 2 notes, this B and this E string. So really try and see where that transition point is from one pattern into the next. And again, that will help you to utilise even more of the fretboard. Have fun! So I hope you enjoyed today's lesson and you found it useful. If you did, please subscribe to the channel and consider giving the video a like and maybe sharing it with some of your friends. And I'll see you again in the next one. Thanks for watching.